Welcome to podcast for the podcast for Topic H, which is a podcast involving or a topic involving transfer pricing. Now we are back to the skill set that requires that we use incremental costing to analyze the results of the decisions from a corporate as well as from an individual subunit perspective. Now remember, a transfer pricing problem occurs when there is suboptimization in a transfer of products among subsidiaries and the corporate income goes down as a result. So we'll start with problem 5.7. Now in problem 5.7 we have a company that has 4 manufacturing divisions that produce beauty or cosmetic products, and these products are then transferred to the 5 marketing divisions, each of which covers a particular geographical area, and the marketing and manufacturing decisions are free to negotiate the transfer prices for the products transferred internally. Now, because of the weakening South American currencies at this time against the US dollar, there's further pressure on the US produced products, and the South American Marketing Division estimates that it can only make a profit by purchasing, if it purchases the hair conditioner that's made in the US, only if it can buy it for $85 a case from manufacturing. Manufacturing claims it can't make a profit at that amount, and the other ICB and marketing divisions are paying about $105 a case, and will likely want to renegotiate the $105 transfer price if the South American market is able to buy it for $85 a case. Now, you're supposed to be, in this case, an advisor to the corporate controller, and you're asked to write a memo not about the correct transfer price, but a memo that lists the important issues that controller should be aware of before she meets with the division heads. So the summary then of key transfer pricing issues is as follows. First of all, transfer pricing doesn't merely shift profits from one division to another. It affects overall firm profits by affecting the quantity of units transferred. Secondly, a transfer price of full cost plus profit causes the buying division to buy fewer units than if the transfer price was lower. Thirdly, the ideal transfer price should be the resources foregone from making the transfer, which is called the opportunity cost. Fourthly, allowing manufacturing to make a profit means that the marketing divisions will buy and hence sell fewer units than if the transfer prices were set at opportunity cost, unless the manufacturing can also sell at a profit outside. Fifthly, if the manufacturing has a long-run excess capacity, it should transfer the conditioner at variable cost. If manufacturing does not have excess capacity, the transfer price should be at what it can sell the conditioner for in its next best use, which is the market price. And sixthly, if the corporate controller intervenes in this case, and this is very important, then future transfer pricing disputes will land on her desk. Her intervention in this case will likely change the process by which transfer prices are set. The current decentralized negotiation process will tend to become more centralized in the controller's office, which may not be what she wants to spend her time doing. So those are the important or key transfer pricing issues that should be included in the memo. Now on to transfer pricing itself. And the calculations, again using incremental cost. Problem 5.9 is again a large firm with multiple divisions, in this case an electronics firm, and the circuit board division sells its circuit boards internally and externally. The phone division assembles cellular phones and sells them to external customers. Both are profit centers. The firm has a policy of transferring all its internal products at market prices. The selling price of the cellular phones is $400, and the external market price for the cellular phone circuit board is $200. So, and there's costs to complete the phones, and the variable cost of the circuit board is $130. Now, the first question you're asked to address in this problem is whether the circuit board division, whether the phone division will purchase the circuit boards from the circuit board division. So at the sale price of the phones of $400, as long as the phone center is evaluated as a phone division is evaluated as a profit center, and microelectronics does not intervene somehow, the phone division will not purchase the circuit boards from the circuit board division, because the phone division will lose money on every phone that it makes. So at a sale price of $400 and a transfer price of the circuit boards, which at their market value of $200, the cost to complete the phone are $250. So we have an incremental loss of $50. Now part B of the question said, suppose the circuit board division is currently manufacturing and selling externally 10,000 circuit boards a month, and has the capacity to manufacture 15,000. Now, from the standpoint of microelectronics, should the additional 3,000 boards be manufactured and transferred internally? At the selling price of the phones of $400 and the incremental cost of the boards of $130, the other costs to complete the phone are $250, resulting in a total cost of $380. The incremental benefit is $20. So from assuming that there's an excess capacity of 5,000 boards per month, where and the excess capacity is no other use, then the incremental cash flow to the corporation would be $20 per phone for each circuit board, or $20 for each circuit board purchased by the phone department. So it would be a net benefit to the corporation, of course, if this transaction took place. So, in 5.9 Part C, how would you set the transfer pricing? For the circuit board division, the transfer price should be set at greater than $130, which is variable cost, or they'd have no incentive to make the board. So you have to set up the incentive system such that the circuit board will want to make the board, and the phone division will have an incentive to buy it. So the phone division needs a transfer price less than $150. So somewhere between $130 and $150 is the correct transfer price. However, $130 is best as it induces the transfer, even if the phone price declines to even if the phone profits decline. So if the circuit board has 5,000 units of excess capacity, or 33%, why is it selling circuit boards externally at $200? Might it not be better to lower the price of the circuit boards to, say, $190? depending on the price elasticity of demand, and use up the excess capacity this way rather than producing boards for the phone division at the internal transfer price. That is, the decision to transfer the boards internally assumes the opportunity cost of excess capacity is zero. And in this case, the circuit board division should probably be looking for another use for the excess capacity. Another assumption that's important is that the answer in Part C assumes any price between 130 and 150 is equally useful. This assumes the phone division will not adjust its selling price, and thus the number of phones sold, based on its marginal costs, including the transfer price. And 3, variable costs per board 130 and per phone 250 do not seem to change with volume, and that's another important assumption. Other assumptions would include that there's a market for another 3,000 phones per month. After including fixed costs, the divisions are profitable. Derived demand from additional phones does not drive down the prices for circuit boards, and creating an exception to the rule in this case does not lead to further transfer pricing disputes. So there's a lot of important assumptions that are made when a transfer price is chosen regarding the motivations for both buyer and seller, and that some of these assumptions are very profoundly influence the future profitability of the company. Now let's take a look at again another large company. In this case, again, an electronic, a company that manufactures electronic transducers that are used in military and commercial products. It has 3 divisions, and the transducer division designs and produces transducers that are sold internally as well as externally. And both the military and the commercial division incorporate these in their final products. Now, because of the unique proprietary design of the transducers, they only use, the military and commercial divisions only use these transducers in their products. All of the sales are in the United States. All 3 divisions are profit centers, and about 50% of the transducer output is sold externally. The remainder is sold internally. Now, right now they're using a full cost transfer pricing policy for the transducers, and the managers of the 3 divisions receive about 40% of their compensation tied to the performance of the division. The balance is base salary. Now, there's bickering among the 3 divisions, so they're arguing. And so the CEOs proposed a new transfer price. Each month, the transfer price of the transducers will be the same as the external market price that the transducer receives for external customers, if and only if the transducer division is at capacity for the month. Otherwise, the transfer price is the transducer's division's variable cost for the month. Now, there's 3 things that you are challenged to do. You work for the CEO, and you're asked to write a memo to the CEO that explains the benefits of the proposed policy, explains the change in behavior of the 3 divisions that the new policy is likely to produce, and states what additional data the CEO and you should collect to analyze the data before making a decision regarding whether the new transfer price should be adopted. So, in Part A, the proposed transfer price best captures the opportunity cost of making and transferring the transducers outside WBG. With no excess capacity, WBG foregoes the selling the transducer externally if it transfers it inside to the military or commercial. With excess capacity, the opportunity cost of making the transducer and transferring it internally is just the out-of-pocket or variable cost. to induce the military and commercial divisions to make the correct decision as to how many transducers to buy and how to price their final products, the two divisions should be confronted with WBG's opportunity cost of the transducers. Now, the change in behavior caused by a change in transfer pricing is that several problems will arise in implementing the new policy. Assuming that in some months the transducer division has excess capacity and in other months it does not, the transfer price is going to vary monthly. And this makes it very difficult for military and commercial divisions to set long-term prices with their customers. Moreover, the two divisions' profits will vary, imposing risk on the other two divisions' managers. The transducer division will always claim they have no excess capacity, allowing them to get a higher transfer price and thereby report higher profits. Under the full cost system, full cost transfer pricing policy, military and commercial divisions face a fairly constant transfer price each month, and that hence can establish a relatively constant long-term price. Instead of bickering over the correct transfer pricing, the divisions will now bicker over whether the transducer has excess capacity. Moreover, if the proposed policy is adopted, the transducer price will reduce its capacity to help ensure they have no excess capacity, thereby leading to the higher profits for the transducer division. In other words, the proposed transfer pricing policy can lead to underinvestment in an underinvestment problem in transducer division. Now, before adopting the proposed transfer pricing policy, you should collect the following information. First of all, collect data on the fraction of the transducer's total cost that is fixed and its margin, that is market less full cost. If fixed cost is a relatively small percentage of the transducer's total cost and the margin is relatively small, then full cost, variable cost, and market cost are approximately the same. Adopting the new policy will have little effect on the transfer price, and hence the new policy is probably not worth the headache of trying to determine whether the transducer division is operating at capacity each month. Secondly, you should collect data on the fraction of the total cost of the military and commercial's final product cost that is represented by the transducer. If the total cost of the transducer represents a small fraction of the final cost, then it probably doesn't matter what transfer pricing policy is chosen, because the transfer price will have a negligible effect on the pricing decisions made by both the military and commercial divisions. And lastly, you should collect data on the price sensitivity of the military and commercial divisions' customers, that is, their price elasticity. Are these customers' demand for the transducers extremely price sensitive? If they are, then adopting the new transfer pricing policy might cause us to lose customers. We do not want to lose if the transducer's transfer price is a fairly large fraction of the end product's final cost. So all of those are issues that we should certainly consider before changing a transfer pricing policy. Now, problem 511 deals with a turbine manufacturer that produces turbines, gas-powered turbines for generating electric power and hot water for heating systems. They buy the turbines from internally from its turbine division. Both division managers, both the turbine division and the generator division, which buys the gas turbines, are rewarded as profit centers. Now, if the transfer price in Part A of the turbines is set at the turbine's variable costs, how many turbines will the generator division purchase to maximize its profits? Now, when we take a look at the variable cost at the 7 turbine level, the generator's division's profits will be the highest. So where the transfer occurs, the transfer price occurs at cost, variable cost. The number of turbines purchased by the generator division will be at, I believe, its highest level at 7. Now, where the turbine division expects to sell 20 a month and includes both external and internal sales, calculate the average full cost of the turbine, which is fixed cost plus variable cost at this level of sale. Now, at this level of sale, we're selling 20 turbines. The fixed cost is $1,800, so, and the variable cost per turbine is $150. So we're looking at an average full cost of a turbine of $240. Now, for part C, the turbines, if the transfer price is set at the turbine's average or full cost, which we've just calculated, the question then is how many turbines will the generator division purchase? Now, if the generator division, to maximize profit, the generator division in this case will purchase 6, and that will maximize their profits at $460. So the purchases drop from 7 to 6 turbines. Now, the question is, should the company use variable cost or full cost for transfer pricing? Now, conventional wisdom argues that the variable cost transfer pricing yields the firm profit maximizing solution. Now, this is certainly the case as long as variable cost is reasonably easily observed and not subject to gaming. However, the turbine division has incentive to reclassify what are in reality fixed costs as variable costs and to convert activities that are now a fixed cost into a variable cost, for example, by replacing contracts written in terms of fixed cash flows with contracts written so that the cash outflows vary with the units produced. Thus, full cost transfer prices being less subject to managerial discretion might be preferred to variable cost transfer prices, even though the full cost transfer price results in fewer units being transferred and slightly lower overall corporate profits. So you see that transfer pricing, I hope, is a very complicated subject. It affects the behavior of the managers, particularly those managers in profit and investment centers, and who are rewarded according to on bonuses based on the performance of their respective center. So it adversely affects the behavior. It causes bickering among managers, but it is a reality of life in large corporations. So somehow you'll have to determine what the transfer pricing rule is, and ideally keep most transfer pricing decisions out of the controller's office. So that is the end of this podcast, and the next and last podcast will be on topic I.